Madam, has the presentation started?
Hello. Hello. Yeah. Yeah. Good evening, everyone, and welcome you all to the Saturday evening session on Enriching Life series on Every Breath Matters. It's our pleasure to have Mathushri P. Shetty, our Director, Program and Strategy at the Lung Care Foundation, and a renowned doctor, Mr. Harshavardhan Puri, among with us. I think it will be a very enriching session, especially considering that Jamshedpur is an industrial town, and there are people are concerned about their lungs and to remain healthy. I will request Ashmita, our center head of JMA, to introduce Ms. Shetty and Dr. Harshavardhan Puri, and then hand over the session to taking it forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. A very good evening to everyone. I am Asmita and I welcome you all on behalf of JMA. So in this session of Life Enriching series of JMA, where the experts share their knowledge in the area of health, nutrition, happiness, spirituality, education, art and culture, and help us to improve the quality of life. Today we are very happy to have Ms. Mathushri Shetty and Dr. Harshavardhan Puri of Lung Care Foundation. Mathushri Shetty is the Director of Programs and Strategy at Lung Care Foundation. She is a development sector professional since the last 15 years and has worked on diverse issues like health, education, skill building, and mental health. She is trained as a developmental psychologist from the Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda with an advanced diploma in child and adolescent guidance and counseling from NIPCCD. She is also a trained neuro-linguistic programming professional. In her current role at Lung Care Foundation, she wishes to create a sustainable impact on the air pollution scenario of the country by creating awareness on air pollution and its health impacts. She is instrumental in planning and on-ground implementation of programs by Lung Care Foundation. We also have our speaker today, Dr. Harshvardhan Puri, who is a MBBS and DNB in general surgery and a thoracic surgeon. He is also a member of Medical Advisory Board and Lung Care Foundation. He is a clean air champion, Doctors for Clean Air. Dr. Harshvardhan Puri is a thoracic surgeon and presently working as a consultant at Center for Chest Surgery in Sir Gangaram Hospital, New Delhi. He specializes in video-assisted thoracoscopic surgery and robotic surgery. He is an active member of Lung Care Foundation and has been associated with the organization since inception. Being a member of the Medical Advisory Board of the Foundation, he has spread awareness on health impact of air pollution. He has also recently led a 4-city research study on health effects of air pollution in children. With this, I would like to welcome both Ms. Shetty and Dr. Puri, and now request Ms. Shetty to please give a brief introduction about Lung Care Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you, Asmita. Thank you so much for the kind words. I welcome all the participants to the wonderful series being organized by Jamshedpur Management Association. I think it's a great initiative, and it is really wonderful to be a part of all of you and talk about this very important issue of lung health, which has become more relevant in the present times that we are facing in the COVID situation that we all are facing today, and for the years that we have faced in our country with respect to air pollution. I would just, before we start the talk, I would just like to give a brief introduction about the foundation so that you are aware about what we do. I just wanted to, yeah. Is the screen visible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So Lung Care Foundation is an organization with the vision of care and cure of 2.6 billion lungs in India. So you've heard about a lot of initiatives being taken care for the heart and for various other health issues that people face. But lungs are often one of the most neglected aspects, and currently we are facing that situation where now it has become the very important organ for us, in order to ensure that we are alive and we are breathing. So we are a social impact trust. I'm unable to move the slide. Yeah, okay. So we are a social impact trust. We we do a lot of work in the society to spread awareness and many other activities with our motto of living careful forever, and with a very strong belief that we have in our team, which is alone we can do so little and together we can do so much. With this idea and with the belief that we should co-create the future towards a healthy India, and with the mission of care and cure of 2.6 billion lungs, we have found the foundation, Lung Care Foundation. Also, the idea was set up in May 2015, where Dr. Arvind, who is the main person, the founding member of the Lung Care Foundation, was disturbed to see the color of lungs that were there of people. And he was so disturbed that he thought and he's a surgeon, so he got to see that every day through a lot of his surgeries, and therefore he actually understood the pain of the people who suffered through the lung diseases, and decided to found this initiative through Lung Care Foundation. And under this we have done a lot of programs wherein we have done camps, health camps. We have done a lot of awareness programs in children, and we have educated the MCD school principals. 800 school principals were addressed in a single meeting in Delhi. These were the small initial programs that we did when we started the foundation in May 2015 and 16. These were the things that were done. In 2017, when still the air pollution issue was not the talk of the town, we decided to do something which was really very major path breaking to spread the awareness about air pollution. And this is when we conceptualized the Guinness World Record event, where we had about 5,000 school children, 5,000 plus school children, who became the lung ambassadors and formed the largest human image of an organ. And the picture that you see in front of you, the image that you see, that of the lungs, are actually children who are sitting in the shape of a lung. It's a small, brief video that I would like to show you about the initiative that actually led us to be a path-breaking on this path-breaking journey.
December 2017. More than 5,000 school children from 35 schools of Delhi NCR came together to bring to the notice of the world the growing menace of air pollution and seek action.
So these are enthusiastic children who became a part of this initiative, and since they are the best people to spread awareness,
in the process attempted a Guinness World Record for India.
they became the lung ambassadors, they became the pollution ambassadors.
And enthusiasm of the children was electrifying as they showed the world that each one of us can make a difference to build a people's movement to clean the air we breathe. Presence of Shri Anil Bajal, Honorable Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, motivated everyone to strengthen their war against air pollution. Recognizing the efforts of the young children, Lung Care Foundation awarded them titles of Lung Ambassadors. These children took the lead and created history by making a world record of the largest human image of an organ.
So this was one of the initiatives that led us to taking this forward, the issue of air pollution and health. So till the time we raised a voice, air pollution was always considered to be an environmental issue and was not linked to health as much. But Dr. Arvind's voice actually strengthened the health impact that is caused by air pollution. And that was the reason why he was invited to the WHO's first conference on air pollution and health. And we were fortunate to be addressing a lot of people at that conference and making a huge impact, where the role of doctors in addressing air pollution was discussed at length. And over the period of time, in association with All India Management Association, we have been creating a lot of awareness programs with the various local management associations like we are doing for today. This is a brief about the founder trustees that we have under associated with Lung Care Foundation. We have 4 trustees. These are our 3 main areas of work that we do through education, research, and clinical care. And there are a lot of programs associated through which we reach out, we fulfill these mission that we have, the objectives that we have for the foundation. I'm sorry, I'm a little stuck because first time I'm using the app of GoToMeeting, so I'm just adjusting my screen a little bit. Yeah. So as we go ahead in the coming years after the Guinness World Record event, Our first program that we started was with schools, and we basically follow this umbrella to reach out to our different segments of our population, and with each step I'm going to take up each of these programs. Our first pioneering program is Doctors for Clean Air. So when we realized that Dr. Arvind was a very important spokesperson, being someone from the health background, someone who had the health advantage from the medical advantage of talking about the impacts, who saw directly the health impact of air pollution, while he's talking to his patients, while he's seeing his patients in the OPD. We realized the strength of the voice of a doctor, and we thought there were more people who needs to join this movement, and therefore this entire concept of Doctors for Clean Air came into focus in 2018, where in the presence of Ms. Christiana Figueres, who is instrumental in the Paris Climate Agreement, and she's a climate champion working for decades for climate change and air pollution. In her presence, we launched the Doctors for Clean Air program with 12 national medical associations who have a reach of about 1.5 lakh doctors. They committed for actions towards clean air, and there were 40 champions from across all states and union territories of the country who joined hands to lead the movement of clean air in their own respective regions. Joining that force of the doctors, the second most important and crucial group of people who actually can bring about change at the grassroots level, at the on-ground level, are the students. And as a follow-up for the Guinness World Record event, we launched the Breathe Easy Stay Tough School Clubs, which catered to especially the students and their role in bringing about a change and in reaching out to parents, teachers, and other community members for a social transformation. So this was something that we took it up as a challenge for bringing about awareness, awakening, and action. We have been engaged with students at very, very different levels. So Best Club does an entire year program. We handhold the students. We also bring them together and create a lot of awareness campaigns, create a lot of grassroots level working. And also we recently did, last Diwali, we did this huge campaign on Ye Diwali Alag Nirali, where we had posters and student videos invited from more than 6 lakh students who participated from across India, and there were so many reach that happened. So many older people reached out, and there has been a tremendous response. As part of the Bless Club initiatives, another initiative that we launched during the lockdown are the Best Talks. So when children lead the movement, they also need the support of experts. So Best Talks is a platform where we bring in about experts, and we also bring in other student leaders to showcase their work on the sector of environment, health, asthma, and other environmental initiatives that they take. Studies over the years have actually shown that there is a huge problem of asthma in our country. About 20 to 25% of the population going to school, school-going population, suffer from asthma. So one of the initiatives that has been done by Lung Care Foundation is to develop an asthma manual for schools and preparing the school teaching and non-teaching staff to implement this asthma response training for schools in their own schools and getting the schools to be asthma ready. Now, these asthma manual has been compiled by Lung Care Foundation. Earlier, we did this compilation in English, and there were a lot of people who came up and understood the language and understood the manual and its importance, and said that if we are to reach out to each person in the country, we have to reach out in more number of languages. So this English manual was later translated into 11 Indian languages, and it is available for free download on our Lung Care Foundation's website. The link is mentioned in the presentation, and I will definitely put it on the chat also. This has been endorsed by the Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change, and has reached out to about 1 lakh best clubs through best clubs and also through eco clubs of the government in the electronic format. Another initiative that we have taken over the years is to condense the lung care information in small micro learning modules and share these one shot simple messages to ensure that people are protected with respect to their lung health, and simple steps that can be taken to avoid damage to their lungs. And this is part of our life series. We also have been associated with Sir Gangaram Hospital's Center for Chest Surgery, wherein we are getting more and more people, helping more and more people to take care of the lung health expenses, especially people who are from a very poor background and cannot bear the expenses of expensive specialized lung treatment programs or surgeries. So under the help, we do take care of these kind of patients. The program that we are doing today with Jamshedpur Management Association and with the IMAs that we do, we are coming back to the basics. So this is actually an opportunity to be, brainstorm and come up with joint action plans, and where you and I and all of us put together, we understand the importance of talking about this issue, and then again doing our little things, our little initiatives at the grassroots level to bring about some change. We've been also involved in researches. The current one that we have is the 4-City project, whose report we are just going to be sharing soon. It's going to be out soon. So this is basically to understand the health impact of air pollution. We have been doing a comparative study of 2 polluted cities, which is Delhi and Kanpur, versus 2 non-polluted cities or relatively less polluted cities, which is Kottayam and Mysore, to understand the lung function, the difference in the lung function in the children with respect to the levels of air pollution. And this is also being done by, in collaboration with Doctors for Clean Air champions at the local level. We have an extensive patient repository of online videos of all the kinds of lung diseases which are there, and it's explained in very simple language on our YouTube channel, where you can access and get this information in a very understandable language, in Hindi, with English subtitles, whatever is convenient for you to understand. And it has been actually broken down into very simple concepts for you to understand. Many a times doctors, when they mention that you have a certain disease, if it's a lung disease, they just give out the name. They may not be able to explain it much in detail. So these patient repository videos help you to understand the disease better and its management better. We have been reaching out to people to develop more and more stakeholder dialogues through institutions, development sector, enterprises, and academia. And these dialogues are taking shape in the form of conferences and in the form of seminars. And we actively engage, and with the coming times, we have been actively engaged in the IDEA project with webinars, thanks to the technology of these COVID times. These are some of the institutions that we have worked with, and we are working with at present. Another important project that we have just started a few months back is Saaf Hawa Aur Nagrik, where we are focusing on comprehensive multi-pronged awareness programs on reaching out to the public of Delhi NCR, where so-called the pollution levels are very high, which Delhi is always in the limelight. So one of the primary responsibility of this project is to reach out to multiple stakeholders and create a dialogue and resolve this issue at a community level. with Shan, we have various other organizations associated who are helping us to implement. So that is the brief about the work that Lung Care Foundation has undertaken. We have reached millions of people through these projects, through our social media campaigns, and Doctors for Clean Air forms the umbrella of all the other projects that we undertake. And we are looking at a lot of support from all of you people in implementation of the projects, and even carrying out, just taking these messages ahead in terms of how air pollution is impacting our health. And we as the people and the citizens of the country need to bring about this change. With that, I hand over the session today to Dr. To Dr. Harsh Vardhan, who is associated with us, Lung Care Foundation, and he's a clean air champion from Doctors for Clean Air. And he's been very instrumental in developing all our projects, and he's a member of our medical board. And Dr. Harsh is going to talk about in detail about how health is affected by air pollution, keeping in mind Jamshedpur city, where there are so many issues, there are so many factories and industries. So I would like to invite Dr. Harsh now to talk about the health impact of air pollution. Just before he takes over the frame, I would like to say that after Dr. Harsh's session, we are going to have a question and answers section. So request you to please post all your questions in the chat box, which Dr. Harsh will take it up, and I will help Dr. Harsh in taking up those questions. I'll put it all across to Dr. Harsh, and we can try and answer them as many as possible. So with that, Dr. Harsh. Dr. Harsh, please unmute yourself.
So, I'm audible?
Yes, Dr. Harsh.
Good evening, everyone. Hello. And this is Saturday evening, and you have spared this evening for such a noble cause of listening to a very, I think this topic of air pollution should be very, very close to your hearts, because I think Jamshedpur is very polluted because of a lot of industrial work being done in Jamshedpur. So I'll be telling in brief, small presentation, what happens basically because of these pollutants to our lungs, what kind of studies are there, is the present corona having any effect on the lungs, and is it more pronounced because of the air pollution? I'll be telling you these things. So let me see if I can share my screen.
While Dr. Harsh is sharing the screen, some of the results that came out as part of the study that we had ensured, I mean, the study that was circulated to you, the survey form. I'll just quickly share some of the results. So of the respondents, of course, there were fewer number of respondents, but of all the respondents, there were 42% of the people who said that the AQI is quite average in the city, whereas actually Jamshedpur's AQI ranges from about 138 average, 138 to 140 average, according to some of the data that is present online. And of course, industries emerged out to be the top source of air pollution. And about 61% of the respondents said that they did not receive any updates about the air pollution, or they are not even aware if the air quality monitoring systems are present in Jamshedpur. So, and about 40% are not aware about the indoor air quality and 82% they said they were aware about the health impact of air pollution. However, amongst them, many of them just focused on the impact with respect to eyes and lungs. So, Dr. Harsh, these are some of the cues that I just wanted to share with you about the brief survey that we had done. Maybe you could cover these things in your presentation.
Sure, Shri. Let's begin. Let's understand what is air pollution, what are its ill effects on health. So I'm Dr. Harsh. I have already been introduced to you. I'm a consultant chest surgeon in Sir Gangaram Hospital. I'm a medical advisor to the Lung Care Foundation, which is doing beautiful and tremendous work in the area of lung care and air pollution. Okay, we breathe actually around 25,000 times a day, and we inhale about 10,000 liters of air every day. So what is air pollution? Air pollution, you must be hearing these quite a lot of words like PM10, PM2.5, PM1, carbon monoxide, sulfur. So what is this PM? I'll tell you what this PM is. So PM is particulate matter. Particulate matter means the small particles suspended in the air which cause these diseases. Now, what is 210, what is 2.5, and what is 1 is? It is 2.5 microns. So this is the picture of a human hair. You can see, and this is in comparison. This is PM10. You can see here. You can see the PM10 in comparison to the human hair, and this is PM2.5. So 2.5 micron is so tiny that you can't even see it. It has to be seen by a high-powered microscope only. So what happens when these particles are suspended in the air, and when we inhale these particles? So most of the bigger particles like dust and everything, it remains in our nose and throat because of the protective mechanism there. But these PM10 and PM2.5 pass through the respiratory tract, and this PM10 is filtered by the lung and stays in the lung. So most of the disease is caused by PM10. And what goes into the circulation now, when the air gets circulated in lungs, this PM2.5 gets circulated and goes into the blood circulation and reaches different organs, causing different diseases. So this is why these are the most dangerous two particles which we encounter in air pollution. Now, air quality index. You must have heard AQI. This is an amalgate of few indices which is done to tell you how bad or good is the air quality of your place. So by WHO, it is the numbers are 0 to 50, it's good. 51 to 100 is moderate. 101 to 150 is unhealthy. 151 to 200 is very unhealthy. 201 very unhealthy, and 300 plus is hazardous. If it goes above 300 plus in some of the cities in US, they will just stop the city. They will just do the lockdown. What we have heard from because of this COVID times, lockdown. So they will go for a lockdown if it goes above 300. What India is living in, we live in the bracket of 151 to 200 in most of the cities. 0 to 50 is not found in India. Some places in Leh are 51 to 100. Most of the Kashmir and all valleys are 101 to 150, and most of Indian cities are 151 to 200. And in the peak of air pollution, Delhi goes 300 plus, and we are always open. We never stop. So is air pollution a problem of Delhi only? You must have heard कि दिल्ली में बहुत pollution है, दिल्ली में बहुत pollution है. तो क्या सिर्फ दिल्ली में pollution है? We'll look. So when we hear about the megapolis, big population cities, Delhi, Cairo, Dhaka, Mumbai, Beijing, these are the most polluted. But you see in 2016 and from 2016 to 2020, the data given by WHO says the 20 most polluted cities in the world, around first it was 12, then it became 16, now 18 of the cities are from India, and Delhi figures at number 6. Kanpur, Faridabad, Varanasi, Gaya, Patna, these are the most polluted cities in the world. So it's not the problem of Delhi. Delhi becomes the center of attraction because of it being the national capital. And the other thing is there are a lot of air quality monitors in Delhi, and we know the data. We don't know the data mostly from every nook and corner of Jamshedpur, but we know the data from every nook and corner of Delhi. That's why the Delhi always comes in the news. Does it impact the health? Yes. First of all, yes, it impacts the health. Everybody knows. Which organs? So somebody, if I ask you this question, you'll say that lungs are affected, eyes are affected. We get this irritation in eyes. No, gentlemen. Every organ of the body, every organ you know in the body, right from the head to toe, every organ of the body is affected by air pollution. So this is the photograph which Shri was talking about, from which this photograph needs to be explained, from which the journey of LCF started. This is the intraoperative photograph. When we operate upon a patient, we go inside the chest and operate upon the patient. So when Dr. Arvind was operating 10, 15, 20 years back, most of the lungs of the people from Delhi adjoining areas was around something like pinkish. So he saw a change in this color coming up to this diseased black color from the last 5 years. And from the last 10 years, I'm operating on the lungs. I haven't seen a single pink lung from Delhi. I seldom see these pink lungs from different Leh and Leh Ladakh areas or the northeast areas, but I don't find now a simple pink lung in Delhi. So this was so worrisome. We were so worried about what should be done, how we tell people. If we go to the government say that there is no pollution, see, everything is fine, nothing is going on bad. So we thought of going directly to the public by forming an NGO first and then converting into a social impact trust, as she has told you. So now I'll tell you what comparison is. 1 cigarette per day is, if you are smoking a cigarette, it's equivalent to PM 2.5 level of 22. So when we correlate it with the PM 2.5 level of Delhi or India, so everybody in India is a smoker. Even a newborn, when a newborn comes into your family, so he's already a smoker if he has taken breath into the air of India. The whole country on an average smokes 5 to 7 cigarettes a day. So you understand, everybody is a smoker. So if somebody asks you and you don't smoke the cigarette, just tell me that you are a smoker. So 51 per minute breath a newborn takes. So he's smoking this bad air quality. So he's a smoker. What is the age it affects? People tell me that, okay, I'm now elderly, that's why the pollution has caused so much of trouble in me. So no, gentlemen, it starts burning your body from the day, not the day you are born, but the day you are formed by a small cell in the womb of your mother. So there is a study which is done which shows that there are 287 pollutants, chemical pesticides, which were identified in the that umbilical cord, that the cord between the mother and the baby, were found in the blood of that. Because I told you in the beginning that PM 2.5 and PM 1 micron crosses the lung blood barrier, and PM 1, which is still smaller, crosses the blood placental barrier, which is the barrier between the growing kid and the mother, and it reaches to the baby who is not even born yet. So this pollution starts its effect from the period we are not even born. What age? I told you. Which sex? Universal. Everybody is affected. Most affected are unborn babies, pregnant ladies, children and elderly. Why children? Because their height is small, the pollution level is more towards when we go towards the earth, and their breathing rate is much more than the adults. So they are the most affected. That's why the asthma is growing like anything. We have 25% of our population is asthmatic at the moment, which is school-going population. This is the comparison. This is a pink lung from Leh. This is a black lung of a non-smoker from Delhi, and this last one is a black lung from a smoker of Delhi. So we are already having 6 or 7 cigarettes per day. If you smoke 10 more, so it becomes 20, and this is what you can cause to your lung. So the choice is yours. Now, I told you children are more vulnerable. The lung diseases, COPD, 55% of the COPD cases in India are attributable to lung pollution. How? Indoor and outdoor. Now you will ask me, what is indoor air pollution? So in these villages and small places, these chulas are used. And what people do is that they burn these chulas inside a small mud house, and it produces lot of toxins. So the studies have observed that these chula burning or inside air pollution is much more dangerous than the pollution outside from the vehicles and from the dust, because it directly exposes these ladies to lot of pollutant gases, lot of this particulate matter, and it causes a real havoc on their health. On the cognitive development, which is the development of the brain, there are studies which are done which show the people who are living near the highways, the more the proximity between the living place and the highway, the IQ capacity of the children growing there is 3 to 4% lower than the children who are living away from the highway. So you can see this affects the developmental cognitive function of the brain also. So it is a national emergency. It needs awareness, which we are providing, awakening, which you have to do, and commitment that yes, we have to fight. Everybody has to fight it. At the level of individual, at the level of governments, at the level of policymakers, at the level of bigger organizations like WHO and all that. This is karo ya maro, aaj nahi to kabhi nahi. Now, there is a special circumstances which are going on these days, COVID crisis. The whole of the mankind, we haven't seen a bigger crisis in our whole life than this COVID crisis. Pollution and COVID crisis. Now, these two demons have come together, and there is a direct correlation between the death rate of COVID crisis with when it is compared to the most polluted areas. Now, I'll tell you how. There are many studies which are done over the last 2 months which show that the pollution increases the mortality of COVID-19. There is a study where the SARS mortality, the SARS, which is something like a brother of COVID, which came in 2003. So the mortality was 4% more in each regions where this pollution was more. And in high polluted area, it was 9% more. So this was a study done on SARS. Similar studies are being done by different people in China, in Italy, and in US, which have showed a direct correlation between the areas which are highly polluted and the mortality cases to mortality ratio in those areas to be much higher than the places where the pollution level is low. Now, see, I'm not talking about India. I'm talking about US, which is one of the cleanest countries in the world. I'm talking about that country. So they have shown a direct correlation between the deaths and the pollution level in US, in Italy. So you can very well imagine if this COVID crisis becomes a national emergency in India, what havoc is going to cause in Delhi, Mumbai, and Kanpur, and places which are much higher polluted than US and Italy. So these are the research. I can go into details by Harvard University, where they have studied 3,080 counties of US and said that the mortality is more in the US people which are living in high polluted areas. Italian societies and China also, there are similar studies coming from. So there's a very good analogy I was looking at. Has this pandemic done everything bad? Has it done it's had been killing people? If I'll say it has done something good also, I'll tell you what it has done, what's better. So these days, this is the first time in Delhi. I'm living in Delhi for the last 12 years. This is the first time in Delhi I'm seeing a pure blue sky. the pollution level is remarkably low. Everybody is in lockdown, and there are no vehicles on the roads. There is no construction activity. The industries are all closed, so we can see pure water, clean water, pure blue sky. I'll show you a very small video from last September. I guess this is a video from my balcony in Delhi. So just have a look at it. DLF Capital Greens. See how polluted my surroundings of my society were in September or October. 50-meter survey on 2nd of November. This is 2nd of November, yeah. So I was just standing in my balcony and I was sneezing like anything because I couldn't tolerate that that polluted air. So bad, you can't see anything. So this is pre-COVID era. Now I'll show. This is the same society in post-COVID era. So see, I haven't seen Delhi in so beautifully depicted picture. This is a picture clicked by my wife, and see how beautiful it is. So this is what COVID has taught us. If we could have done this without these big lockdowns and all those things being imposed on us because of COVID also, but we never thought of it at that time. So what is the way ahead? As a country, we should collectively pull through this crisis, this COVID crisis. We have to kickstart our economy, but we have to think about how we are going to. Now the gains are done because of this COVID. We should multiply on these gains. We cannot do that. Okay, now COVID is gone. Let's go back to the more polluted, let's become the most polluted city in the world. Let's start everything haphazardly. Think about it. Start everything slowly. Start with the norms followed by the which have been laid by the government. Take the construction activities slowly. Take them on the laws from that you have to shelter the construction activities and all those stuff. On individual levels, we also should think that if we can reduce this vehicular pollution, this cab sharing, all this should be in our blood, like wearing masks these days. So now we have to start thinking about ourselves individually as well as at the administrative level. So renewable sources of energy. There is a proposal by Government of India that until 2022 we'll be converting most of our facilities into renewable sources. Let's see how it goes. If it happens, it's the most important step in the upliftment of the country. I was reading a beautiful article by I guess the Tata Group only, that the person was saying that from the last few days when we are in lockdown and we are working from home, we are not physically meeting in the office, the productivity of his employees has increased tremendously. Their productivity is increased by 20 to 30%. So we can think of these alternatives, that if I don't have to go out taking my car, polluting the air to my office, I can work from home, produce the same kind of productivity. So we have to think, we have to be innovative to fight these demons. So, and the governments need to increase the GDP on the public health. It's 1.28% at the moment. It should be increased to 8.8, which is the world average, because the engine of growth is the Indian workforce, and an unhealthy, vulnerable workforce will not generate the growth we need. Let's defeat COVID and let's make cleaner air an indispensable part of our defense against the deadly contagion. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe, stay blessed, enjoy the clean air. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Harsh, for the wonderful presentation. I think you brought about more relevance. There is a stop button at the top. There you will find that.
Okay.
There will be a panel at the top. Now? No, it's not yet. There is a
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
So I was just saying that you have actually explained it very well to all the participants, and I'm sure they have a lot of questions as well. Some of them have been posted in the chat. But I just wanted to highlight that the way you actually correlated air pollution, like now many of the people might say that, in the COVID times, हम air pollution की बात क्यों कर रहे हैं? Air pollution अब इतना relevant नहीं हो गया है. But ये बात हमें समझना जरूरी है कि जो आज हमें साफ हवा जो दिख रही है, जैसे डॉक्टर हर्ष ने बताया, it is more because we have stopped the activities. We have practically stopped the moving world around us. So, and we are in a standstill position, and that's why we have cleaner air. So imagine the kind of impact that we are actually harming the environment on an everyday basis. Ki ab suddenly there is wildlife that is actually coming out. So yeah, and itna time nahi hua hai. We have just given our earth a rest of about just a few weeks. So imagine the recuperation that the earth has been able to do has been really marvelous. So just imagine how much damage we are doing to our Mother Earth on an everyday basis. So even if we are a little, just say one of the participants had asked a question, how can, will city-wide lockdown help and prevent bad air quality, or will we need a country-wide lockdown? See, for a country to function,
this is not practical.
For a country to function, lockdown is not a practical means. Right now, it is the means where we are trying to control the spread of a virus. But moving forward, we will definitely have to open up the lockdowns. But what is required now as a society, and more importantly, as you people being a part of the industrial bodies, being a part of the larger network, which has a great contribution to our Indian economy, we have to be more mindful about the activities that we do and how is it impacting our environment and our people. So that has to be more mindful. And as Dr. Harsh said, as much as possible, I think with COVID, we have learned that there can be a way of life without increasing the mobility of people, which is again one of the main, the primary causes of pollution, whether it is road transport, air travels, or train travels. So how can we reduce that, and how can we actually be more productive and more impactful and use technology in order to get the same kind of outputs from each of us as a working professional, and yet be very mindful about the damage that we are causing to our environment. I think that's a very, very important point to keep in mind. So while we have some questions that people have put forward, but before I come to that, I wanted to ask a few questions, Dr. Harsh, that आपने अपने presentation में indoor air quality की बात की जब when you had talked about air pollution and COPD, and some of you talked about its impact on the women. So is it also true in a closed door industrial setup where a lot of people are affected by the fumes, or in the factories, the fumes that come out, or the dust that probably comes out in many of the factories in some of the work that they do? So do they also get impacted because of it?
Definitely, Shri. The point which we have to understand is that pollution is not only because of the particulate matter in air. The pollution is because of that concentration of the particulate matter in air. So wherever there are closed spaces, the concentration of this particulate matter and gases becomes obnoxiously high. So what happens is the contact time of the person with this particulate matter and the concentration, increased concentration, causes this multiplying effect. So as we are standing in a closed place with the burning chimney or these chemicals being used there, the contact time increases, the PM 2.5, the concentration of the particles and gases increases, and this causes the problem. If we are standing in a clean space where the particulate matter is less and the concentration is less, like if you are standing near a jharna or something, the concentration is very less, the contact time is less, so the problem is less. Wherever there are more concentration, there is the contact time is more, the problem is more.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Harsh, for answering that question. Another common question that we are often asked is, you had shown that picture of the lungs, the black deposits on the lungs, and many a times a lot of people ask, how can we get that picture? Can we see it? I mean, is there any test that we can undertake to see what is the color of the lungs that are there inside us? So
no.
Is there anything like that?
I don't want anybody of you to show me the color of lungs, because for that I have to open your chest. So this happens only when we operate upon the patient, and these are patients with lung diseases. So maybe lung cancer or pneumothorax or something, we have opened them up, or we have put our telescope in them and we are operating upon them. So that's the only sure shot test where we can see the color of the lungs. Yes, the condition of the lungs is we can evaluate by a chest X-ray, a CT scan, a PFT. There are indicative tests of what your lungs are going through, but directly if we have to see, then you have to be a patient of ours.
Okay, I hope that nobody becomes a patient of yours. But yes, that's a very good information for us to know. Another question that we have is, how many days out of the 365 do we have bad air quality, and is it bad throughout the day or during sometimes? So it's a very good question. Dr. Harsh, would you like to answer that, or do you want me to answer this?
You answered it.
Okay. So basically, in Jamshedpur, we have a manual machine, quality monitoring machine that is there. However, many a time, and it is controlled by the State Pollution Control Board, but many times these machines do not have, are not maintained well enough, or they are faulty and they are not functioning well. So we are not, many times you don't get the accurate information, which is also mentioned in another question that somebody has asked. But more importantly, there are other ways now where you can access the air quality data on projections, based on the projections, based on the satellite data. So there is a website called the Urban Emissions, where a lot of city specific data and projections for, if it continues at the present rate, then what is how the city is going to go in the coming few years. So projection up to 2030 has been mentioned in that website, and according to that, there are a lot of high concentrations of SO2, NO2, and other the sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, and non-methane volatile organic compounds, along with carbon dioxide and particulate matter, are found to be the maximum in the Jamshedpur region, which have a very, very high impact on the lung health and the health of, all the other organs that Dr. Harsh has mentioned. So this is something that needs to be concerned about. And as far as the consistency of AQI remains, see, when relatively the air is still, the concentration of the emissions that come out from the factories, from the industries, or from the vehicles tend to stay at the same place. So this is entirely dependent on the weather, of course, and if it has rained, then the AQI comes down, because all the particulate matter and the pollutants, they come down and settle down along with the rain. But mostly the average that we look at in anywhere in India is, as Dr. Harsh mentioned, is around, it's definitely not less than 130, 140, and many a times it increases to about 200, 300 as well. And especially if it is cold, if it's a winter time, the pollutants tends to stay in the air for a longer period of time. That's another thing. And we unfortunately do not have the mechanisms of, in Jamshedpur, the mechanisms of looking at the daytime variations. But in a place where, like in Delhi, we have about 30 to 40 monitors in the Delhi NCR region, and more than that actually. So we know that we have seen that the pollutants are actually, the concentration is higher in the early mornings and in the evenings. So one of the reasons that, increasingly from Lung Care Foundation, we have been giving out messages to people that please do check your air quality before you venture out for your morning or evening walks, because that impacts a lot. Dr. Harsh, would you like to comment on this, please?
Can you repeat the question once again?
I'm just saying that increasingly we have been saying to people to avoid morning and evening walks, because there is a relatively higher concentration of the pollutants in the air. So would you like to comment on that? Because you, as a doctor, why do we have to look at it, or what are the things that we need to keep in mind?
Mostly for the elderly, I think during particular seasons and when the air is too damp, the concentration of this PM 2.5 and the SO2 as these gaseous molecules is much more towards the earth. So at that time, at least they should avoid going out in when that dew particles are a lot more there. So otherwise, doing exercise or is always is an advantage. It's not bad for the health. But yes, they should avoid particular times when the concentration is too high, or when your AQI monitors in your city are showing that the air quality today is 400, 300. Definitely, these morning and evening walks should be avoided.
One question that we have, Dr. Harsh, is how can we protect ourselves from ill effects of pollution in daily life?
There are a lot of things you can do. There is a whole plethora of things at individual level. Stop smoking, first of all. I told you that you're already smoking 5 to 7 cigarettes. Then the things like this cab sharing, vehicular sharing. If you can stay home, work from home, see, you have to reduce your carbon footprint, your daily consumption of things. Then the other thing comes, this will constitute around 5 to 10% reduction in your individual efforts, planting more trees and all those stuff. But the major chunk of this kind of thing comes from the government or the administrative level. The renewable energy production, the vehicular acts, which this is, I think, Bharat Stage 6 is going on in India at the moment. This ban on construction activities in crowded areas. The construction activity, if has to take place, inside the shed. They have to put that blue dust, this and all those stuff. So it is not it's me only who can stop it, or you only who can stop it. When the administrative governments, individuals all come together, they are aware of this means the problem is there, then they can formulate policies and move ahead in the direction of reducing the air pollution.
Absolutely right, Dr. Harsh. And I think we as people become very important voice for the government to hear the need. So we need to voice out these concerns where we demand for clean air. Dr. Harsh, there are 2-3 more important questions that we have. One of them is what kind of it's a common question that we have, the what kind of mask should we wear for air pollution versus COVID, and also about how effective are air purifiers in combating air pollution.
Masks are a very private solution to a public problem. These days we are wearing masks because we are fighting a contagion. For air pollution, wearing masks is like just saving ourselves from that at a particular time when we are passing through a very crowded area, very polluted area. For COVID, simple surgical masks or a cloth mask are required in public areas, and if you're a healthcare worker, then N95 and above. So masks are not a solution to air pollution. They are just avoiding air pollution. We have to reduce air pollution to get out of it. And
so Dr. Harsh, one thing is N95 masks are quite easily available, especially now, and have always been promoted as to be worn at the time of air pollution pandemic. Would you say that it is easier to roam around in an N95 mask, and you can say that you are prevented of air pollution?
Not at all. You can stop, obviously N95 filters are 0.3 micron, 95%, but wearing that mask for 3 or 4 hours is very difficult for the general public who don't know how to wear this mask. First of all, they will get hypercapnic, they will get hypoxic. It's very difficult. It will get foggy. So wearing a N95 mask for continuity of 6 to 7 hours is practically not possible. So if at all the general public has to wear some mask, then it should be a 3-ply surgical mask, nothing more than that, or a cloth mask which should be worn around the mouth.
But the
so this is for the general public.
For the COVID situation, for general public.
For the COVID, Yes.
Yeah.
So N95 should be reserved at this moment of time for healthcare workers because they are working very close to the contagion.
Right. And what about air purifiers?
Air purifiers are already, I've told you a very particular statement that these are private solutions to a public problem. If you have one room where you are living, or 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom flat, you need at least 6 to 7 air purifiers to purify the whole air of that flat. And whenever you will open the door or the window, the outside air and inside air will become equivalent, and that effect of air purifier would be gone. So air purifier are not a solution. If you are living in that room for eternity, for maybe a month together, and that air purifier is on, you won't open your door, you won't open your window, that is okay, then you can use it. But if you are going to open your window someday, your door someday, and the air outside and inside will mingle, the effect of air purifier will be gone. So air purifier are not a solution to air pollution. As I'm continuously telling, we have to reduce the air pollution. These are just gimmicks, and they will give us false sense of security to us.
And we have another question that how can we, as individuals, what lifestyle or what exercises that we can do to improve our lung health?
See, reduce your carbon footprint is the first thing you have to do. And the second thing about exercise, any good exercise which is not too much strenuous. I'm not saying just go pick dumbbells, and although you can see a treadmill at my back. So this is my daily routine, 30 minutes of treadmill. That is enough. You can go do a lot of yoga also. The videos are available on YouTube. Baba Ramdev always comes in the morning shows on different channels. So small amount of yoga, running, but some people do it inside their house, like I do it inside my house. Some people do it outside also. Don't strain your body. My purpose of telling this exercise regimen is don't strain your body. Light exercise to keep your lung healthy for 30 minutes a day is enough for you or anybody.
I think that's a very good information. We have one of our participants also mentioned, also asking if there are any food habits that can help us take care of ourselves during the to prevent ourselves from the damage caused by air pollution.
Food habits.
Yeah, diet. Is there any dietary advantages that we have if in case we have certain kinds of foods that help us?
Yeah, eat balanced diet. Just eat balanced diet. Keep yourself well hydrated. 8 glasses of water a day. These are the things which are required for normal life. 8 glasses of water a day, a balanced three times diet, which should include proteins, fats, and carbohydrates in the proportions they are required for the body. Don't eat junk food. Don't eat too much of these oils, too much of fried, too much of masalas and all those stuff. So you'll remain healthy. That has not got anything to do with the pollution, but it's to the daily lifestyle. Yes.
We have some other questions related to the renewable sources of energy to be used for battery operated vehicles and its impact on pollution. I think I'd like to take that question.
Sure.
Very, very important that we move to renewable energy, whether it is solar or again electric, which is produced by renewable sources. Even if we are moving to battery operated vehicles which needs to be charged now, how are we generating that electricity? What model are we using? Are we depending on fossil fuels or are we using renewable energy? I think that is the catchword in today's times that we have to focus on understanding to see the larger impact of air pollution. So what is required now as part because all of you are here who are part of the major industries in our country, is to look at everything from a whole life cycle approach. So any new technology that is being introduced, any new initiative that is being introduced should be looked at from a life cycle perspective to see what are its implications on the environment, the health of the people, direct and indirect both. I think that consciousness needs to be built in all of us. So that is what I just wanted to point out as part of this. Solutions may not be just one or two. They can be, they have to be really worked out. They cannot be one solution that I give you, okay, you have to do this and you have to do that, or for that matter, anybody. So it's something that has to be brought down from the grassroots level through the industry bodies, through the manpower that exists, through our work class of the country. I think that's about it. If there's any other question, so we have one last question that says that is morning. I think we have covered this. Is walking in the morning better than evening hours? See, all of it depends on your air quality levels at that time. So please do look at the air quality levels at that particular time through various apps that are now available. There are some low-cost sensor monitors that many people have deployed in the city and are feeding into a central database, which is available online through AQI apps. You can look at air quality index in Jamshedpur. You can search that on the Google, and there might be some apps that will provide you this data. And in case on certain days, if the air quality is higher, first thing is avoid doing any kind of an exercise outdoor. But you can just compare morning versus evening for a few days before deciding which is a better time for you in your particular area. We have one question about any suggestions for asthma patients. So Dr. Harsh, would you like to take this question up? Any suggestions?
Asthma patients should always be should always follow their doctor's prescription. They should always keep an inhaler ready whenever they go out, whenever they are not near to a medical facility. They should avoid the triggering factors like lot of emotions, lot of stress, lot of this polluted areas. And there is an asthma manual which Shri was talking. I want if she will share the link with you. So
I have already shared the link on the chat box.
Just download that asthma manual. It's free and freely available on the LCF site. Just go through it. It will give you a lot of information on asthma. Thank you.
It's in a very simple language that for everybody to understand, and what schools, as you know, your children who are a part of different schools, they can also be given this manual or to read. I mean, and it can immensely benefit the schools and the children. One of the other question that we have is how to take care of air quality if the AC is running continuously. So I think air conditioning maintenance is a very, very important component of maintaining air quality, especially if it is at home. Of course, you do the servicing properly from every aspect. I mean, from the air quality aspect, from the energy efficiency aspect, because all of these are very interlinked concepts. And whether it is in terms of if it's in your office background that you're talking about in your office building, then regular maintenance of the entire air conditioning systems is very, very crucial. Updating to the latest technology in terms of air conditioning is also important for maintaining air quality, for improving indoor air quality. Any other question that we have? How to reduce carbon footprint? AC and refrigerators are necessity these days. Absolutely, it is necessary, but what is important is that the efficiency of these things are maintained. See, things need to be used, not abused. So that is something that you should always keep in mind. The crux of the entire thing with respect to environment is being very mindful of the kind of things that you use. ACs especially, I think it's very hot these days. We try that, we think that, if we reduce the temperature, I know there are a lot of people who reduce their AC's temperature to about 16, about 17, whereas it is known that comfortably for an AC to be optimally functional, you can keep it at 24, 25 degrees, where you're comfortable also, and it is less, it provides, it puts a less amount of load on the electricity as well. So being mindful of these small steps, and just putting off lights and fans when it is not in use, refrigerators, keeping it at a lower temperature, when it is not required, say in winters. So just reducing the temperature of the refrigeration, these kind of conscious things, if are captured by all of us, is going to be immensely beneficial for the environment. Any other question? We'll have just 2 more minutes, and after that I'll hand over to Asmita. I think there are no more questions. Asmita, over to you.
Thank you very much, Matushri and Dr. Harshvardhan Puri. That was indeed an eye-opening session. I would request Mr. Amitabh Bhattacharya, our secretary, for his closing remarks.
Yeah, thanks once again to the Lung Care Foundation, Matushri and Dr. Harsh. I think it was pleasure having both of you. I think a lot of people must have got benefited from the session, the presentations that you shared, especially the asthma manuals and all that. I think now we need to take care of our own health, and I think people will follow it, and people will also work for your noble cause. I think we'll ask if you are doing something in Jamshedpur, please do let us know as a Jamshedpur management.
We can start a lot of programs in Jamshedpur. We'll be very keen to do that.
Yeah, certainly we'll facilitate and bring that culture out here, and people are more concerned about it and do something. I think that's the motto of having such sessions. Thank you once again, and it was wonderful having both of you here in our sessions. Thanks everyone.
My special thanks to Asmita and Mr. Bhattacharya for facilitating the whole talk and helping us reach our message to the people around in Jamshedpur. And I really value today's program, and I hope that we've been able to answer some of your questions. And if there are more, you can always reach out to us. At any time we are available. Our contact details are mentioned in the website. You can reach out to us anytime, and we look forward to doing more programs with in association with Jamshedpur Management Association. And thank you very much for providing us this opportunity.
Yeah, sure. So once this COVID etc. lockdown slightly is over and we are into normalcy, we can do some physical face-to-face programs. We can engage the people out here and do something.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining the session, and the session is recorded and will be available on the YouTube channel of JMA. For our upcoming events, please follow us on social media. Thank you again. Have a great evening.